Hey everybody, this is my second Profiles of a Justice assignment. For this one I decided to do research into Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Justice Sotomayor was born June 25th of 1954 in the Bronx of New York. She does practice the religion of Roman Catholicism. She is of the Puerto Rican ethnicity. Her father, Juan Sotomayor, he died while she was very young, at only 6 years old. Before he did pass, he worked as a tool worker, a physician, and a professor. Her mother, Selena Baez, she was a telephone operator and a nurse. Both of her parents were born in Puerto Rico, and they came into New York during the Second World War. Justice Sotomayor is divorced and she does not have any children. I do have two pictures to the right. The top picture is a picture of Justice Sotomayor with her parents, and the bottom picture is a picture of her while she was in college. I'm not sure the exact time and semester of college, but it is during the time of her college career. As far as her college education, she went to Princeton University and graduated in 1976 as summa cum laude with a bachelor's in arts degree. During her time there, she did receive the Pine Prize, which is the highest academic award that is given to an undergraduate student. And she also went to Yale Law School and graduated from there in 1979 with a Juris Doctor. While she was there, she did work as an editor of the Yale Law Journal. Her previous professions, from 1979 to 1984, she was the Assistant District Attorney of New York County. From 1984 to 1992, she was an associate lawyer and later partner of Pavia and Harcourt Law Firm in New York. From 1992 to 1998, she was an associate judge to the U.S. District Court, Southern District of New York. She was appointed to this position by President George H.W. Bush. From 1998 to 2009, she served as a judge for the Second Circuit of the U.S. Court of Appeals. From 1998 to 2007, she also served as an adjunct professor at the New York School of Law. From 1999 to 2009, she served as a lecturer at the Columbia University Law School. And now from 2009 to present, she is serving as the 111th Justice on the Supreme Court. So for her nomination and confirmation, she was nominated on May 26, 2009 by President Barack Obama to replace Justice Davis Souter. Her confirmation date was August 6 of 2009 with a 68 to 31 vote in the Senate. And then she was soon sworn in on August 8, 2009 as the 111th Supreme Court Justice. To the right is a picture of where Obama did announce Justice Sotomayor's nomination. For her judicial philosophy, there was not much to go on as far as news articles and her being out about this. So during her confirmation hearings, Justice Sotomayor stated that her judicial philosophy was, quoted, fidelity to the law. She also stated the task of a judge is not to make law, it is to apply the law. She stated in the video that I have at the bottom right of the screen, in the video that she has a rigorous record of hewing faithfully to past precedents decided by the U.S. Supreme Court. In another article, she stated she followed a formalism philosophy. This philosophy is simply applying the rules and standards previously chosen through democratic processes to rulings. So with all these statements, it does seem to support that she follows a more originalism judicial philosophy. She reports to follow the Constitution through the way it is written and does not attempt to provide an updated perspective on what is outlined within its content. Some interesting facts about her. She is the first Hispanic and the third woman to be sworn as a sitting Supreme Court justice. She graduated valedictorian of her high school class in 1972 at Spelman High School. She did throw the first pitch at Yankee Stadium September 26, 2009. She has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She does attribute the show Perry Mason to have inspired her to pursue her career in law. She issued an injunction on the MLB in 1995 while serving as the associate judge to the U.S. District Court, Southern District of New York. This pertained to a strike between the players and the owners, and she is ultimately, for this injunction, she is ultimately known as the lady who saved the Major League Baseball. She also authored a few books. The three that I could find were Just Ask, Turning Pages, My Life Story, and The Beloved World of Sonia Sotomayor. I do have the covers of all three books over here to the right of the screen. One landmark case that I found very interesting was Burris versus Thompson 2010. So a little bit of backstory on this. Vanchester Tompkins was a suspect in a shooting that ultimately claimed a victim's life. Tompkins was interrogated for over 3 hours and remained largely silent during the questioning. Prior to interrogation, he had been properly Mirandized. Toward the end of the interrogation, an investigator did ask Mr. Tompkins if he had asked him if he asked God for forgiveness in shooting the victim, to which Tompkins answered yes. This answer was used later as leverage to prove that he was guilty. So the question in this case was, does a largely silent suspect during interrogation, absent of a statement invoking his right to remain silent, constitute invoking this right? The majority decision was narrow. It was 5-4. They decided no. The court ruled that an unambiguous invocation of the right is required. This means that if a suspect intends to invoke the right to remain silent, then he or she must make it plain and clear, and it's best if it's in a statement, if it's in a writing, whatever it needs to be given to the officers. In the dissenting opinion, which was led by Justice Sotomayor, they stated that in the Miranda criteria, broad protections are afforded to suspects. She and the other in the dissent believe remaining largely silent during interrogation is clearly invoking the right to remain silent. I do have a picture over here. It's kind of a phrase or a proclamation that came about after this case was heard. It says you must speak up to remain silent. So from this case we learn that in order for somebody to invoke a right during interrogation, it does have to be unambiguously invoked. You cannot, officers are not there to take hints. They're there, if you want to remain silent, you need to say, I don't want to speak, I need a lawyer. And that's what we get out of this case. The other case I have is Obergefell versus Hodges 2015. So a backstory in this, where it was groups in the states of Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee that were focused on same-sex couples and marriages challenged their state's bans on same-sex marriage law and or refusal to honor legal same-sex marriages that occurred in states that had already put forth or released the ban on same-sex marriage. These groups stated that these laws that did ban same-sex marriages and so forth violated the Equal Protection Clause and Due Process Clause in the 14th Amendment. So there was actually two questions within this one case. The first question is, does the 14th Amendment require a state to license a marriage between two people of the same sex. So basically, does the 14th Amendment disallow or allow states to ban same-sex marriage? And also, does the 14th Amendment require a state to honor a legal marriage performed in another state? This majority decision was also narrow, 5-4, and the Supreme Court answered yes to both. The 14th Amendment does guarantee the right to marry as a fundamental liberty to both hetero and homosexual couples, and denying same-sex marriages would indicate a violation of the Equal Protection Clause as well. And in this majority decision, Justice Sotomayor joined in the decision, so she was in agreement to this. The dissenting opinion stated the Constitution does not address same-sex marriages, causing the issue to be beyond the purview of the court to decide. The Constitution does protect the right to marry, but law regarding marriage in and of itself are decided by the states through judicial policy making. And over to the right, I have a picture of, I believe it was a rally held either during the decision or after the decision of this case. And that is all of the PowerPoint, and these are my references that I used to create this. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you.